Hello guys and welcome to the second episode of Strassmayr training videos. Now this episode will be dedicated to the technology of quality pothole blow patching. In some other countries, for example like in the USA, it will be also called the spray injection patching, and it is recognized as one of the most cost efficient and one of the highest qualities of pothole reparation. And before going into the details, I would like to share with you quickly what are the different types of our machinery, and then we will go a little bit more in depth of what are the real differences between them. So now on the screen you can see the Strassmayr STP1008 HH, which is basically designed as a towing unit. It is either towed by a small truck or a small tipper machine, which will deliver the aggregate to this feeder bin, which is then transferred by the means of the high pressurized air produced by the Kaiser blower to the pothole. Now this machine of course has its own drive for all the hydraulic functions, but it will only work with one main stone of aggregate at a time. And this is something that differs these machines between each other. And I will explain to you later why using the size of two different sizes of stones is so important, but you should know that this machine and the next one that I'm going to show you use two different types of machines. Now the STP1008 is one of the most well-recognized machine within the Strassmayr range of products, and it comes in two different sizes: 4 cubic meters for aggregate bin and 6 cubic meters aggregate bin. And it can be either operated by one man, which controls all of the processes of the pothole reparation from the truck cabin, so he's in the same time the driver of the truck, and he's the operator of this forking boom in the front by the means of a joystick. Or in the second option, a little bit cheaper, is a product or less expensive, is the product which is operated by two men. So one will be the driver, which will be moving the truck from the next pothole to another, and the second man will be the operator who will be doing the full process of the technology of blow patching from the working arm here manually. Now I will go a little bit more into the details of how this process works, but let me show you one of the most modern approach of Strassmayr for the pothole reparation. Now, we were asked since some time to provide a new machine which would deliver us new different features. So this machine is different in a few ways from what you have seen before. It has a new system for control of the aggregates, which I will explain to you later. It's called an easy patch and allows you in simple words, it allows you to control precisely the amount of emulsion which is used in the mixture of aggregate emulsion mixture. And this could be only done thanks to our redesigned new system of emulsion in this machine. So it has now two pumps, one bigger pump for circulation of the emulsion for quicker heating, but also allowing you to quicker fill in the main tank of emulsion, quickly fill out the emulsion tank also as well if you want to sell the emulsion, for example, or lend it to your friend. And it has a bigger tank which allows you to store much more emulsion than ever before. Either it comes in versions of 2 cubic meters or 4 cubic meters of emulsion, so allowing you to cover many days of work if you are in a country where there's not so many emulsion plants. Now the other changes are that we have added the feature of a moving front plate in this machine. So the front plate in the manual machine has a possibility to be operated by a small joystick, which is just very close to the thumb of the operator. It can be either angled or moved in two different axes. This would allow you to compensate the angle of the road, so the operator would never have to fight with the weight of the working arm. He can settle, even if the car is standing not on a flat ground, he can still have the front plate, which is holding the whole structure of the front working arm. He can level it so he does not have to fight with it, and it will work very easily, so he gets not tired so easy. Now, in order to explain you a little bit more about the technology, I would like to show you how the steps of work actually look like by this technology of pothole blow patching. So Like I said, this technology is based on delivering to the pothole a mixture of bitumen emulsion, which I explained to you in the episode before. So we deliver the bitumen emulsion mixture with the aggregates to the pothole. Now, this technology is simply much quicker, much cost effective than standard techniques of reparation of potholes. For example, filling the pothole with the hot asphalt mixture would require from you first cutting. So you require a tool and a man to cut the pothole. Now you need to fill it up with the hot asphalt mixture, and hot asphalt mixture cannot be thrown away without losing its cost. So as soon as it loses the temperature, you lose it, you lose the money. Now in the technology of pothole blow patching, it is totally different because these two materials which are mixed, so the aggregates and the emulsion, they are mixed in the final stage of delivery of the material. So that allows us to stop the process wherever we want to and never actually lose materials. So the emulsion can be stored for many days on a shelf. You can even have it for more than 3 months and the emulsion will be still stable. It's just maybe good to mix it with a stick from time to time. But other than that, you can stop the work and it doesn't require cutting, it doesn't require compaction, and it doesn't require to slow down, to close the traffic on the place where you are repairing. So now this delivery of this mixture of aggregates and the emulsion is done in 5 different steps. And let me only tell you in this moment what is very important, that coming back to the first episode where I told you a little bit about how different emulsions can be and what are the different types of the emulsion based on the setting time. This kind of emulsion in this process, in this technology of pothole blow patching, should be a rapid setting emulsion. So after 3 to 5 minutes, the process of breaking of the emulsion, so the water evaporation, already starts, making the pothole compact itself and making the structure of the newly filled pothole already solid. So now how it works, how it's split into 5 different phases. The first phase is the cleaning of the pothole. Now we want this pothole to be free of any residue, free of any dust. And that is because any dust particles, as you remember from the first episode, will be first joined to the smallest particles. If the surface of this pothole is not clean enough, then you will have to use more emulsion, because the emulsion will firstly cover the dust. But what our idea is, we want to give the tack coat layer kind of a glue layer between the layer which is coming, so between the layer of the road, the surface, or the subways, which is already coming kind of by through these potholes, and then between the fresh and new material which will be delivered. So this is how the tack coat application looks like, and take close care to see that we cover much more than just the pothole itself, and that will give the pothole additional strength compared to the standard technology of filling the pothole with hot asphalt. When we cut the edge of any pothole, we already create additional stress on this edge, and you will or you have probably seen many times that a repaired place of a pothole, repaired with a hot asphalt mixture with a cutting tool, will start breaking first from these edges. So this is what we improve in this technology. We cover a little bit more ground, making the repair stronger. Now, another step, the third stage, is the delivery of the mixture of aggregates and emulsion into the pothole. Now, here comes the effective part of why we want to use 2 different kinds of stones. And this is only seen in very few producers of this kind of machinery. We are one of the best producers who does this within their machines. And this can be easily translated to our customers and distributors. This is because when we use the 2 different kinds of aggregates, so we use the bigger one and the smaller one, we actually can save a lot of money. You can easily imagine that the bigger stone will cover much more empty, much less empty spaces. So the bigger the stone is, the bigger the empty space is. So you are using less stone. If you would have put smaller stone inside, of course you'd have to use much more kilograms of this material. Now we want to use the bigger stone for the lower layers and the smaller stone for the top layers. And now for the smaller stone on the top layer, we'll create a kind of a finished smooth surface, which will then be compacted by the tires of the cars, which will close the mosaic between the stones and make sure that no water will ever penetrate the lower layers. So following with the video, filling the pothole with the mixture, and I think that on another scene I will also be able to explain to you one different thing that makes our machinery much more effective and not lose so much material. Let me pause in this moment. Now you will find a pipe going back from what looks like to be the main pipe to deliver the aggregate mixture. Now these aggregates are traveling here through these pipes only thanks to high capacity of air. There's like 15 cubic meters per minute of air, and this air is used to either clean the pothole and then deliver the aggregates to the pothole itself. And we want to have the highest amount of energy when we want to clean the pothole, because like I said, we don't like the residues, we don't like the dust, which can actually make the repair less economical, but we want to have the full energy to clean it. Now, after we have cleaned it with a full power, we want to deliver the mixture of aggregate and emulsion. And this is why we have invented the bypass system. And the bypass system is designed and it is controlled by the operator, and it is designed to reduce the amount of energy for this mixture. We want to do this because we don't want the stones to jump away because they have too high energy. So when we apply the mixture, we want to have the perfectly calculated amount of energy, so this mixture of aggregates and emulsion already stays compacted and doesn't jump away. So we open and relieve the part of the pressure of the main blower of the system. Okay, now a quick look for the joystick presentation and how this machine looks like. All of our machines are heated with a re-yellow burner, fully automatic heating, and when we are in this place, it's also very important to mention that we provide in all of our machines the cold heating for the pump and for the emulsion filter. And what we do is actually we steal some heat from the Kubota engine with our own heat exchanger system and our own pump, and that allows us to heat the core of the pump and heat the core of the filter, reducing heavily the time necessary to start up the machine every day. Because we know, of course, that you will clean the machine every day, but in order to have the quicker startup time, it really is useful to have this cold heating quickly turned on. And the pump is very quickly heated. It takes 5 minutes for the Kubota engine to heat up, then the cold starts to be heated up, you can start the pump, nothing bad happens, it is never stuck. And like I said before, the temperature control of the bitumen emulsion is fully automatic. The Ariella burner will turn on and off automatically. Now what you see here in the back is the working light, which really helps us save lives and protect lives, especially when it comes to the manual working machines. And maybe let me get back to this specific topic after we see how this joystick machine works like. So this is the operator place, and this is how he works with the main joystick arm. Quick and easy and effective also because one man which usually would have to work in here is reduced. Now by looking here at this part, you will see that there's additional hydraulic motor which is moving the main nozzle, the main mixer, kind of as a protection of creating a stockpile of material. We don't want to do that, maybe not in some cases, but most of the time we want to simulate with the movement of the operator. So there's a special motor in this place which allows us to switch it on, of course, and off, and not create a big pile of material when we are sitting a little bit, let's say, too far or we don't see the process. Now the rest stages are identical as in the process of standard reparation. I think I kind of forgot to say, no, I didn't. I said about the closing of the repair with the dry aggregates, so no emulsions. Once again, we close the repair with a small stone, but the small stone on the top should be delivered without any emulsion, because the emulsion will simply, any emulsion left on the top layer will stick to the tires. So once again, 5 stages. The first stage is the cleaning. The second stage is the tack coat layer. The third stage is the delivery of the mixture of aggregate and emulsion, and the last layer, so fourth step is the delivery of small aggregate without the emulsion to close and nicely finish the repair. Now, coming back to the topic of the arm, I wanted to show you this little spot here. This very well explains why we want to sell our front working arms everywhere. And there are 3 reasons why the front working arms should be sold with this machine. We of course can provide rear working arm machines as well, but we have specially went through the really hard times with some companies which made crash tests for our homologated fender in the front, which is now found in the options of in the price list, which allows, even in the most difficult countries in the world, it allows you to install our front arm and make a registration without any problems with the law, even in case if something unfortunate happens and you have an accident. But that's one thing. So optionally you may have the fender in the front. Some countries do not require it. But why the front working arm is just much better than the rear working arm? Now imagine that you are working behind in here. As a employer, you would have to provide the security for the guy who is doing the job in the back of the machine, because he is opened. He will be usually working on the right side of the road, and he will be open for the upcoming traffic. So usually you'd have to cover him. So by having additional car, additional people, which will be closing the place of repair after him. Now, if you are working in the front of the machine, you are of course covered by the truck itself. Nobody will ever turn so quickly after the truck to hit you. And of course there is this big lightning arrow in the back, which will point on which way to pass and saying that there are people in the front. So there's much more time to react for the drivers. Now the second point is that by working at the rear working arm, the operator has got no eye contact with the driver. So it's much more difficult for him to plan the next steps, and much more difficult to move around on the road. And additionally, the third problem would be that if he is behind the truck, some of the potholes may be below the chassis of the truck. So he probably would not have seen them. He would have to come back in order to plan better. If he's working with the front working arm, he can just turn around and simply make sure that he knows well exactly when he's moving. He just looks in the eye of the operator and he shows to him where he wants to go. Even though the arm has a pretty large radius of 3.5 meters, still to cover most of the potholes you will need to turn a little bit around with this machine. And one another thing that is very important to mention, besides the 2 sizes of stones and the bypass system, is the answer for one very important question, which we were given many times. We were asked this question many times: is how we can help how we can help all of those companies to invoice for the jobs. And now, as an answer for this question, we provided a system based on GSM and GPS which allows you to control exactly each patch, each pothole repaired, and track it with the GPS, with the timestamp, with the all around the weather and humidity parameters. So this is the idea how it was looking like when we were inventing it, but in a second I will show you how the real system works like. So here now we are logged into a one operator. Of course, by this list of machines, if you are the owner of the system, you can have as many machines as you like under one account. Now, after entering the machine, of course, now we see the last position of it, the last temperature, last humidity, and the last time of login. So we have the SIM card, which is reporting all the new information to the system. Now, after entering to this machine, we can choose the time in which we want to check the job done of the unit. So usually if this machine was working a little bit more today, we would see much more different jobs. But just to quickly show you what I mean, here is a map, one of the, let's say, medium city within the Poland, and we can track each single repair with seeing the aggregate weight, of course the timestamp as well, date and time, aggregate weight which was delivered to this exact pothole, the emulsion, this is only available in the 1010 because of its new system of emulsion. In 1008 we can only see the aggregate weight. Now the humidity and the temperature are important for us as we want to filter out some of the repairs which may have been done under heavy rain conditions. And of course, if we filter this out, these kind of repairs will be marked red and will allow us to kind of find out which repairs will be prone to quicker damage. So we allow to filter out all of those different parameters by this map. Now another nice functionality is that we can export all of the different data to an XLX file. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm just downloading the full month's job into an Excel file, and we will show you a little bit, let's say, more modern approach to the invoicing. Now this is the typical Excel file. Now we have the timestamp, the aggregate amount, humidity, temperature, and location. And this is what we have especially done. It was not so easy, but this allows us, and this allows the GSM, GPS algorithm to find the nearest known address to the position that we were working. So imagine if you are the owner of the company which does the repairs, you would most of the people actually do invoice the people for the jobs done on one street name, for example. So with this system you can easily sort it out, find the different names of the streets and sum up the different jobs to give just one invoice for a street and not pothole one by one. So a very simple system, but also raises many questions. So if you have any of those, feel free to contact us directly. We'll be very happy to answer. So the patch portal, it's how is it called, and the other system which was done within the STP 1010, which can be seen here, is the easy patch system, and I promise that I will get back to it. It is pretty simple. Now this operator arm is equipped with a touch screen with LCD, and the whole system is equipped with the PLC. Now, what is the difference between this machine and the 1008, the former one? In 1008, the amount of emulsion is kind of controlled by the eye of the operator. So he has to find the perfect setting and perfect amount for each repair. And of course, we know that is not always the best. So we allow now with this system, with the Easy Patch system, we allow the operator to set up a stiff percentage of the emulsion used in the aggregate emulsion mixture. Let's say typical, and according to the technology, typical amount of emulsion according to the weight of the aggregate will be between, let's say, 8 to 10%. And we set up these 8% of the emulsion which is then connected to the amount of aggregate used by the pothole patching technology. And it will simply be much more economical now for us these days, because whenever we work and however we want to change the work, if we want to speed up and quicken up the augers, which will deliver the aggregates quicker, we will have the same constant amount of 6% of amount of aggregate weight of emulsion delivered. So I hope you understand this. You set up this diff amount, you can work quick or slowly. The amount will be always according to the technology, and we will not have much more emulsion, for example, going below from the ground as the tire of the cars pass through the repair. And just to confirm to confirm what I said before about the technology and about the different steps of the pothole reparation, this is very important for me to mention it once again. We do not require any compacting. The compacting should be done by the standard technologies of the hot asphalt mixture. But within this technology, we have different forces which are doing the compactation, and it's not necessary at all to do this. So the first energy will be the energy of actually the aggregate and emulsion mixture of hitting it into the ground. And the second energy will be developed because of the water evaporation from the mixture, and it will create kind of a suction, so the aggregate will compress a little bit with the bitumen emulsion. And now the third last energy, and it is very even, we say that it should be done. Nobody should ever stop the movement of the tires of the cars, of the trucks, on the place of the repair. The movement of the trucks, the traffic should not be stopped, as the wheels of the cars will compact maybe slightly, but their job, the rubber wheels, the job is to create the mosaic between the stones, interlock them, and make sure that no water will ever penetrate such layer. And this is a very good technology. The repairs last for many years if only done according to the technology. So one thing I want to mention at this point is that we have to make sure that the aggregates and the emulsion work. So when we will be coming to our customers, it's very easy to check if the mixture of aggregates and emulsion will work. So we take a bucket of aggregates, we take around 10% of emulsion, and we try to mix it with a stick, and we will see very easily if this mixture works, or if the dust, if there is, for example, too much dust on the aggregate, this emulsion will connect to the dust and will leave the aggregates not covered with emulsion. So it's a very simple process of checking, but it will spare us a lot of nerves before we start to work, right? Because if we start to work and the aggregates and emulsions are not working, for example, because they can be, like I said in the first episode, with a different negative or the same negative charges, like anionic stone and anionic emulsion will never work. They have to have the opposite charges. So very easy system to check and spare ourselves some nerves is just to have these two checked at the site, at the job site, and make sure that these stones work well with the emulsion provided. So then we make sure that we have really been delivered the rapid setting emulsion we asked about, and the stone is clean. And it's also very important to say that the cleaner the stone is, then we will use the less amount of emulsion. And one more thing for you guys, I would like to show you just a short video from our big customer in Germany, company Mainka, about the different about one of the features of our machines. Now, all of our machines can be easily mounted either on any platform, either on any chassis. If it's a car from 1960s, if it's a car from 2020, it does not make difference for us. We have proven ourselves that we can install those cars on these machines on pretty much on everything. But when it comes to some of the different customers, they want to use these trucks, the same trucks, for example, two different jobs. So these machines, these trucks will work and carry our pothole blow patchers in the summertime, doing the repairs to potholes, but then in the winter times they want to have these machines taken off and, for example, work with the salt spreaders. And this is why we have provided a simple system of storage legs. And these legs are provided both for the main working arm, which is being connected in here, and the legs are provided also for the main unit of the pothole blow patching machine. So quickly, please just see how this looks like. Few screws, the pipes are all in quick couplings, so it takes only a few minutes to connect and make the machine ready for the next jobs. This is how these machines look like, standing with the legs, waiting for the time during the season. Once again, a little bit more about how the process looks like. View from the cabin and the mixer nozzle. As you will see, we don't stop the traffic, we only mention to people that yes, there is something happening, but we move forward. So imagine how much time and how much money we spare when we compare this system to the standard technology of filling the pothole with hot asphalt mixture. When we need to have at least 4 or 5 men, we need to cut the pothole, we need to compact it, we need to close the road, or at least part of the road, for 12 hours, and that just makes no sense when you can use this technology. So from my side, that would be all. All of these materials, of course, can be found at our website. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us directly, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you and goodbye.